here with John Shmuel. He's the managing editor of LowestRates.ca to talk about the top 5 mistakes you are making when it comes to insurance. And John, we're talking about really any kind of insurance here, right?
Yeah, just in general. I mean, insurance is one of those financial products where it's so easy to get it wrong. I mean, for starters, a lot of people think, I don't need insurance. That's one of the biggest mistakes that we see. Essentially, someone thinks, well, I'm going to save $20 a month not getting life insurance or $40 a month not getting home insurance. And that's where you set yourself up for an error because it's an optional product, right? But it's also one of those products where when you need it, you better have it, because if your basement floods and you call the home insurer and say, I just decided I actually want that insurance, you're not covered anymore. Right. So you need to buy it before anything bad happens.
Right. Okay. So mistake number 1 is just not getting it at all. Mistake number 2, there's a lot of fine print that comes with insurance. I know people might feel intimidated. So what do we need to know about all of the policies and what we're really signing up for?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look at an insurance booklet, it's so dry and boring, and it's this big volume, and no one wants to go through it, right? But you should know what's covered, right? If you ever get in a car accident, you want to know, do I have collision coverage? What is going to happen here? Same thing with the basement flood example, right? If your basement floods, well, you better have overland flood insurance, which is going to cover that. So you do need to read your policy, but you don't actually need to go through the booklet. I mean, if you have a broker, or if you got your insurance through an insurance company, you can call them up. These experts are more than happy to go through this document with you so that you don't have to spend your weekend reading this giant tome of boring information.
Right, and you kind of brought up an interesting point there too. Just because you have home insurance doesn't mean you're covered for the things that you want to be covered for. So you can't just assume you have, flood insurance that would cover a flood. You have to make sure you read those policies. So.
Definitely, yeah. So being overinsured or underinsured is a big risk in insurance. Again, to bring it back to the car accident example, if you're underinsured and you get into a car accident, let's say you decide, well, I want to save $100 a year. I'm going to take my collision coverage off my car. If you have a brand new car that you just paid $30,000 for and you get into an accident without collision coverage and it's an at-fault accident, you're going to be paying for that out of pocket. You've just lost a new car because you decided to save a little money. So it's really important when getting insurance that you talk to, your broker, whoever is providing the insurance, and say, what exactly is covered and is this right for me? The flip side is overinsurance. A lot of us just forget that we have insurance. If you're driving a car for 15 years and you essentially have 300,000 kilometers on it, it's worth $1,000. Maybe you don't need the collision coverage. If your car's worth $1,000, you already have a deductible you have to pay, usually $500, which is out of pocket when you get into an accident. And then you're going to get a $500 payout, and you're paying hundreds of dollars more a year for that. It's probably not worth it. So there's risks to both sides. That's why it's really important to be informed and talk to your broker or expert.
Of course. So that said, would you recommend reviewing your policies as time goes on and your circumstances change?
Absolutely, absolutely. Because the coverage you get when you buy your car, for instance, is not the coverage you need 15 years later. Same with home insurance. We're a lot of experts and people in the insurance industry now are talking about climate change. These once in 100 years storm events are now happening every couple of years. Your basements are flooding every couple of years. And, these basement floods aren't covered in a lot of insurance policies. You have to buy additional coverage called overland flood insurance to be covered. So it's really important to review your insurance and make sure that you're covered for the risks you need to be covered for.
Okay, and the 5th mistake we are making when it comes to insurance is not shopping around. So I have a question for you. When we are shopping around, are we necessarily looking for, the best deal, like the cheapest deal, or do we need something that really covers our needs specifically?
Yeah, needs is the number one thing. You want to make sure you have the right insurance, but you also want to make sure you're getting a good deal, because if we take it back to auto insurance again, some auto insurance providers will provide discounts for older drivers, senior discounts that other insurance companies might not provide. Other insurance companies might say, hey, we are willing to take on brand new drivers or student drivers and give them a great rate. And you will not know that unless you compare insurance products. And it can be really hard to call up every insurance broker, insurance company out there and try to get rates. So you can go online and compare, and that's what we do.
All right. Thank you very much, John, from LowestRates.ca. I appreciate your advice.
Thanks for having me.
And that is your quick fix at 5.